Welcome to the Immigration Report. We have major updates regarding immigration. There are massive protests planned all across the nation this weekend to protest ICE. They're calling it the national shutdown. The mayor of Minneapolis, Mayor Jacob Frey, he's calling on other cities to resist ICE and resist the Trump administration. And ICE, they're expanding their operation to scale that has never been seen before, and many more that we're going to get into throughout this video. So stick around. You don't want to miss it. Also, if you want daily updates regarding immigration, please consider subscribing. We'll do this without bias. Let us get into it.
Protesters are now vowing to mobilize, calling it a national shutdown, fueled by hundreds of organizations. The push asking people, don't work, don't shop, don't go to school, don't spend any money at all. This is all to bring attention to the needs of those they say are being harmed by federal immigration violence and to stop funding ICE. It has taken on more urgency since the shooting deaths of Renee Good and Alex Preddy in Minneapolis. Immigration activists here in New York will be gathering today at Foley Square in Lower Manhattan at 4 this afternoon to rally, bring attention to the ongoing actions of ICE and Customs and Border Protection. Other actions are planned.
So as you can see, this reporting is out of New York, but this is not limited to just one city. It's going to happen nationwide. They're calling on people to go out there to protest ICE. You're seeing the same thing that happened in Minneapolis last weekend happening nationwide, where last weekend they told people not to go to school, not to shop, not to work, not to do anything like that, which brought the city to a standstill. Also, last week, what we saw the shooting of Alex Preddy. So we're going to be watching this closely. We're going to see if it gets violent or anything like that, and we're going to be reporting on it. Also, Mayor Jacob Frey, he's calling on other cities to resist ICE and resist the Trump administration. And here is an article by the New York Times that explains that Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis on Thursday, that was yesterday, urged his counterparts from other American cities to take a firm stance against the Trump administration's aggressive immigration enforcement campaign, warning that, quote, if we do not speak up, if we do not step up, it will be your city that is next, end quote. And here is a video of Mayor Jacob Frey explaining just that.
We won't be intimidated in Minneapolis, and if there is any place to take inspiration from, don't take it from me. Take it from the 435,000 Minneapolis residents that call our great city home and the many more that come and go. Take it from the tens of thousands of people that have stood up and peacefully protested to say we love our neighbor, we care about our collective family, and we're going to do everything possible to keep them safe. This is not a time to bend our heads in despair or out of fear that we may be next, because if we do not speak up, if we do not step out, it will be your city that is next.
So as you can see, Mayor Jacob Frey, he's sounding defiant. It sounds like he has no intent of working with the Trump administration, has no intent of working with ICE. He's fully intent on resisting, and now he's calling on other cities to resist ICE and resist the Trump administration to protect undocumented individuals throughout his city. And here's a video of Mayor Jacob Frey and Stephen A. discussing the amount of undocumented or illegals living in Minneapolis. Take a look.
I got to ask you this. When you talked about just illegal migrants in a city, people who cross the border illegally, that's what people call them. I want to ask you, how many do you believe you have in your city at this particular moment in time?
How many people that are undocumented or living in Minneapolis right now?
Undocumented, yes. Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I couldn't. I don't really have a guess as to how many presently are here. I do know that I think that the federal administration just got it kind of wrong.
So let me know what you think in regards to that video, in regards to the mayor not knowing how many illegals or undocumented that are living in Minneapolis. Let me know in the comment section below. While we're still in Minneapolis, let us talk about Tom Homan and the Trump administration, because there's conflicting information coming out of both camps. Because remember, the Trump administration sent Tom Homan into Minneapolis after the shooting of Alex Preddy. Tom Homan was sent in to clean up what was going on there, because remember, Operation Metro Surge was where they essentially sent in 3,000 federal agents to enforce immigration laws, led by the commander on the ground, Greg Bovino. And as a result of that surge, what we saw more aggressive tactics. And we saw two people getting shot, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. And as a result of Alex Preddy getting shot, they reassigned Greg Bovino to California. They sent him to California, and they sent in Tom Homan to essentially get the city under control. And the first press conference that they did, that Tom Homan did, he said there's going to be a drawdown from Metro Surge, because remember, 3,000 agents were sent in. Now they're saying they're going to pull back that number, and here's Tom Homan talking about the drawdown.
Means less agents in the street. This is common sense cooperation that allows us to draw down on the number of people we have here. Yes, I said it, draw down the number of people here. Because we have the efficiency and safety of the jails and the prison. Matter of fact, I have staff from CBP and from ICE working on a drawdown plan. What does that look like based on the cooperation? What does that look like based on how many targets we have left to find?
So as you can hear, Tom Homan, he wanted a drawdown, or he spoke of a drawdown, and a day later, the President of the United States, President Donald Trump, said there's not going to be a drawdown. Let us take a look.
President Trump has said that the administration has no plans now to draw down federal agents in Minneapolis. That statement seeming to contradict with his border czar, Tom Homan, who yesterday said he plans to withdraw resources. So what's going on in Minneapolis? Let's get more from NBC's Maggie Vespa.
Hey there, lots of changes here in the last 24 hours. We will start with the president's apparent pivot, appearing to dash just hours-old hopes at that point that at least some federal officers might be leaving Minneapolis, telling reporters overnight, quote, "We'll do whatever we can to keep our country safe." But when asked to clarify whether the administration is indeed pulling officers back, he answered, no, not at all. This less than 12 hours after border czar Tom Homan announced plans to start drawing down resources, adding he's in Minneapolis because the mission has not gone, quote, perfectly.
So as you can see, there's a little bit of conflicting information coming from Tom Homan and coming from the President of the United States as well. So what you're going to see, you're going to still see those agents in Minneapolis essentially carrying out law enforcement, maybe different tactics, but you're still going to see or have that 3,000 officers, federal officers there enforcing immigration laws. But I think the reason for this is because initially after the shooting of Alex Preddy, tensions were high, and the president, he essentially had a phone call with Tim Walz and Jacob Frey, and he said the calls went great, the calls went good, and everyone is looking to work together. And as I showed you just now, Mayor Jacob Frey, he's not willing to work with the Trump administration. He doesn't intend on working with the Trump administration. So I think that changed the calculus, where the Trump administration looking now and saying, well, if you don't want to work with us, then we won't be essentially withdrawing resources. We'll continue to essentially apply pressure on Minneapolis. Because remember, the main demand from the Trump administration was to essentially let us have access to your jails for all the illegal aliens that committed a crime, for us to be able to access those jails and essentially arrest those individuals and deport those individuals. So now Mayor Jacob Frey, he's not willing to work with the Trump administration, so they're not willing to essentially withdraw those resources. But let me know in the comments what you think the reason for that. So now let us move on to our next story. ICE, they're expanding their operations, they're expanding their footprint. What we're seeing them do, they're acquiring a lot of buildings, a lot of spaces. They recently purchased a 4,000 square foot warehouse in Arizona. Let us take a look at this reporting.
ICE has bought a massive commercial building in Surprise as the agency looks for space to hold immigrants in detention. Some Democratic lawmakers say that they're concerned this is the next step in an aggressive crackdown on immigration enforcement. According to Maricopa County Recorder documents, ICE purchased the 418,000 square foot warehouse for just over $70 million last week. It's near the intersection of Dysart and Cactus Road. You can see how huge that is. 12 News visited the property last Thursday, where there was no sign of activity. On Monday, a spokesperson for the city of Surprise told 12 News they did not know about the federal government's plans. Of course, stay with 12 News for updates on this.
So what you're seeing is that ICE, they're literally expanding their footprint, because remember, over the past year or so, they've hired tens of thousands of agents, and now they're getting the infrastructure in place. They're buying all these facilities, all these warehouses to convert them into detention centers. So what you're going to see from here on out, you're going to see large-scale operations. So what you're going to see is large-scale operations. You're going to see large amount of illegals, undocumented people being detained and deported. ICE is only going to expand from here on out. Now, let us move on to our next story. The Senate is working on a bill to ban sanctuary cities. Let's take a look.
So here's some news. I just concluded a deal with the White House to come up with a sanctuary city bill that would end sanctuary city policy forever. How? I will make it a federal crime for a state or local official to defy federal law on immigration. So going forward, if my bill passed, these mayors and these governors who defy federal law that have been on the books for 30 years could go to jail. If you want to change sanctuary city policy, you got to hold those accountable who ignore federal law. So to Hakeem Jeffries and all the liberals on your side of the aisle, the American people are with us. They want balance. They don't want chaos in the streets, but they want you to abandon policies that make America less safe. They want you to stop policies that entice future illegal immigration. They want to stop the ripoffs that come from these sanctuary city states, and they want law and order back. As to the ICE agents, you have no First Amendment right to spit on a man or a woman. You have no right to destroy their car. You have no right to terrorize them while they're trying to sleep.
So this is major news. That was Senator Lindsey Graham, and they have worked out a deal with the White House to introduce a bill that will ban sanctuary cities, that will make it illegal for these cities to protect undocumented or illegal individuals. And that brings us to the end of today's immigration report. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Also, please considering like, sharing, and commenting, subscribing, and help us grow. Thank you.